information age, and really what that means, it's oversaturated, like podcasts in the rap scene. It's confusing. Whether you're going live or you're zooming, we ain't on the same page till you leave what the room thinks. The room thinks in many words, and every word is personal. When it's in type, it's even worse. You misunderstood? It's just how it works. So I'm a hypocrite, just like the rest of the earth. And racists think you hate them, so they gotta hate you first. Miscegenation is a crime, the melting pot is an urn. They want us normal and ignorable, killing the burn. Sexism isn't a two-way street, listen to her. And slutting got no use, it's an excuse for a slur. They want us normal and ignorable. It's just, don't blame it on the evil, it's just people who hurt. Welcome to the Museum of Dead Words. I'm your tour guide, Dyalekt, alongside Pamela Capella, Kristen Crouch, and Andrew J. Scoville. We spent the last few years pouring through conversations online to find words that kill discussions and ruin discourse. We dubbed these words dead and have been infiltrating art galleries, co-working spaces, cafes, really everywhere to show how these words died and why that matters. In the online series, we'll be spending a week with each word with the Blueprints in Progress on Tuesdays, where we get deep into... I'm sorry. Hold on one second. Excuse me, can I help you? Okay, sorry, hey, if I'm gonna help you, I'm gonna need some your headphones. Do you have headphones? Can I talk to you?
I'm sorry. Hi. Hello. Hi. Finally.
Hi. Can I help you? This is Museum of Dead Words.
Are you?
I
am. This is the museum.
Yeah, this is the Museum of Dead Words. Can I help you?
Are you Dyalekt?
I am Dyalekt. Are you looking to book a tour?
Really?
I mean, right now we're trying to distance socially, so the tours are mostly virtual. But if you'd like to book a tour, we can talk about this later. I'm talking about.
No, I'm not. I'm not. I am the one you're looking for right now. I am looking for your whole life.
I'm sure.
Hey, let me explain.
I'm looking for words.
Let me explain to you, man. Let me just a minute. I am. Don't you recognize me? Don't you recognize me? I am evil. I am. You do everything. I mean, you gave lessons. You research for me. You know the causes of my death. I want to learn dialect. I have a big problem. I want to learn the causes of my death. Why people killed me like that? Why people abuse me? What are my roots? I don't know. You must tell me who I am.
Yeah,
why I died.
This is no problem.
What was my mission in this world?
My apologies, folks. You know, specters of words, just like specters of people, sometimes tend to appear evil, personification of evil, and evil. My apologies about the ways that you died. You started off as just a nuisance, evil, starting with a Y, very feminine and interesting. You know, you started off in Middle English, and really, really long time ago. You've been around since before we hit 4 figures in the Gregorian calendar. There were these ideas that there was this moral evil, the natural evil, and the metaphysical evil. But as we went through more recent times in history, we realized that those things didn't hold any weight or any validity. At the same time, evil started getting intertwined with a number of different religions that started believing that evil could create an adversary, an enemy, someone to defeat. And that's what everybody did. Everybody beat you.
Oh.
When you wonder why the world hasn't changed, even though everyone who has ever started a war said they did it because they wanted to save people, they wanted to help people, they wanted to fix people, and that their enemy was evil. And that's what they did to you. They killed you and defeated you so they could beat evil.
Me?
So that they can then rule.
I was the enemy. I have only 4 letters. I don't have. I mean, look, what I remember, when they gave me this nickname, Devil, I was so famous. I was so famous, and I was in everybody's lips, in everybody's mind. They wanted all to help them somehow, and I don't know. I couldn't stand this fame. I think I killed myself. They didn't kill me, but I am not responsible for their wars. I was supposed to be here just to challenge them, you know, to challenge them, to find themselves inside, because we live in a world of duality, cold, warm, um, sun, moon, all this evil, good. And good is my fellow. And I am an idea now. I'm not even a word. They made me an idea, some kind of big enemy. No, I am not here to be judged for war crimes. It's not my fault. It's how people get me. They think wrong. I was supposed to be here just to tease them, just to challenge them, not all these things.
So the binary, what you're saying, if I can wrap this up together in a way that makes sense to me, the binary, the duality that's caused between the ideas of good and evil means that it's not really an adversary, it's a challenge, and all challenges come from within. To talk about a word that's not an English language word that I know has been a big one for many years, for more than a decade now. I remember when Americans heard the word jihad. It's an Arabic term that talks about, it sounded like they were talking about war, it sounded like they were talking about violence, it sounded like they were talking about some zero sum, I'm the hero and you're the enemy and I have to kill you. When you look at the actual definition of the word jihad, it just means struggle. And struggle is something that happens here within us.
Exactly. It's completely the opposite, because we live in a world that everything is upside down. Everything. All the ideals, everything is upside down. You got to search, you got to dig. You got to dig in your soul in order to find the right way to be, And I am not responsible. They didn't search enough, maybe.
You know what I think? Go ahead, please.
What?
Because?
No, say yours. Say yours. What do you want to say to me?
Yeah, I think the thing of it is just similar to what we were talking about last week. Our word that we discussed was the word slut. And I think it's interesting that you've taken a female form in this place, because I realized that there are a lot of times when slut was used as an excuse to degrade, to discriminate, and to hurt people. And I feel like when the reasons why we're in the same category of word is that evil is another word that's been used as an excuse to degrade, to hurt, to harm, to lock away, to keep from having a voice.
Because, dialect, in my word, in my name, is the key, what you search for. I mean, if you make an agrammatism, if you play with the letters, with my word, you have vile.
Vile.
Means you can unveil, and then you can see the word live, life. So in my name, you have two opposites. Just in my name, you have evil, death, which is very, very, familiar with death and devil and all these things. And then you put out the vile and you have live. How about that?
Evil, live.
What?
Well, you forgot one last word. And I think this last word is one of the most important words in the anagram. Well, when you bring up the specter of evil, such as yourself, and when you create this adversary, like others, you're putting a veil on. You have a mask. And that mask is the thing that holds us back. And I think if we're going to try to get ourselves out of the trap, we're going to do a little rhythm and bring ourselves to the rap. So to understand that, I think I need to step back and let you get on track. So I'm going to fade to black and let you mac. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Welcome, ladies and gents, to tonight's main event. This fight isn't for titles or a check to pay rent, it's about respect. One fighter will have his chin checked, and a dent in his ego he's going to try to prevent. The first competitor we present is named Confidence. He's a rookie, ready to give 100%, full of energy and hope and down to experiment, claims he can punch a hole in a block of cement. And in the other corner, the veteran, Doubt, virtually undefeated after hundreds of bouts, a big mouth with a bigger reputation for knockouts. This match is 12 rounds in front of a sold-out. A blow to the ribs. You're not the father of your kids. You're not rich. You're somebody nobody would miss. Confidence is bleeding. You sure it's taking a beating. You got caught cheating. You nearly cried. You weakling. You won't never make it back. Confidence is on the mat. No surprise, Doubt made his face a punching bag. He's not above 5. Is he even alive? He's on one knee. Let's see if he makes it in time. Confidence gets up at 9. A haymaker to the eye. I did cry. Was mad at myself because I lied. Doubt's eyes beginning to swell. Confidence has been through hell, but the way he's swinging now, you can scarcely tell. I take pride in the truth, and I learn when I lose. Confidence is putting his footwork to so good use. The momentum is shifting. Doubt is swinging but missing every blow as the confidence chances of winning. Throw the lazy hook. You're ugly. Look, the counter puncher. So what? And Doubt's body shook, but he tries to matter come back. Look. You ain't black, your coffee with half a half. You're not white. That's why they don't treat you right. You're a loser of life, uneducated, not tighter. Step to the side. Their problem, not mine. Fist and jaw collide. Doubt goes down this time. He can't get up. It's the end of the fight. For now, the rematch is every night for life. So how do you feel? Feel a little better?
A relief? Much better.
So you feel like yourself again?
Yeah, I just warm up. I'm just starting to feel myself again. Thank you. Dyalekt, you have many good songs, you know. How you write those songs? How you write?
Thank you.
What is your inspiration?
So my inspiration for songs, I mean, inspiration literally means to breathe in. So my inspiration comes from the oxygen, but my inspiration for writing the songs that I write, the ones that I want to share, specifically, I'll talk about the Shadow Boxed Out. That's from my last album, Square Peg Syndrome. It's not last album. That's from my first solo project, Square Peg Syndrome. I put it out a while ago. The song was part of a story about I was born mixed race and I had lots of conflict in America because we have lots of conflict about race. And I was told that as a mixed race black man, I'm supposed to be certain things in America, like a checklist, right? It got to be this, got to be that, got to be the next thing. And if I wasn't these things, I wondered, was I a whole person? Was I a real person? Did I matter? Like, not to get too into the weeds of it because it's a whole next thing, but I remember, I'm mixed race and I'm black, but I'm very light skinned. I often pass for white. And when I was a kid on TV, the only people I saw who were mixed ethnicity, but my complexion, were women, because it was popular, well, continues to be popular to be a light-skinned black woman in society because of our oppressive things and a whole next story, but it was not as exciting or popular to be a man in that. So the only people I saw on TV were women who were light-skinned. So I remember as a kid being like, was I born wrong? Was I supposed to be a woman? Because society set expectations that I didn't live up to that. And that's what created this fight in me of confidence and doubt. And I know we all have different stories about how we reach these areas of confidence and doubt and not believing in ourselves. But the fight is still the same, right? How about you? When have you had times when you haven't believed in yourself?
Oh, almost all my life. I mean, believing myself after 30. When I closed 30, I started to realize my strengths because I don't know, it was me. I was very shy. and the only area I could express myself freely was theater, and whatever I did like this, the artistic things. All the others in life, I was I was shy for most of the times. I couldn't be as much real as I was feeling inside, and
Mm.
I pushed myself to go very far with that, and I made it because I challenged myself a lot on
Well,
that
let's
in
talk a
that
little about
area.
that. I want to pull back a little bit. Hey, everybody, thank you for listening. Museum of Dead Words. We have, since it's Thursday, our main event where we collaborate with artists from around the world. From Athens, Greece. Yes, Alkistis Voulgari is here jamming with us. We've been jamming on the movement. We've been talking a little bit, and I really appreciate your perspective and where you're coming from. So when you're talking about the ways that you challenge yourself and you made it, I'd like to know a little bit more about you. Can you tell us, you said theater became a really important thing to you. How did you get to the arts, to theater, to dance, to movement? How did they become powerful, but important to you? And then let's talk a little bit more about like the stuff that you're doing. But I want to know about like your background, where you come from, and why you do what you do.
So I started very early to know what I'm going to do. I loved theater since 3 years old. When I went in the theater first time with my mother, I ran on the stage, just like that. And from that moment, I began to play 14 years old, um, and then I found jobs in the theater very, very easily. And the first 10 years. And I had this life of, I had everything that I liked. I was playing in the theater. I was playing in. I had jobs anyway, but what was going on inside? I did not want just the classical thing, theater, then TV series, then becoming famous or something or known, or this. I had other things to say, and I decided to leave from the city. I was a city girl, and I lived 2 years by nature, and there I started building myself and to go inside, start to searching everything about my art in a more serious way. Like the connection with nature teach me everything, uh, teach me how to be myself. And yeah, and yes, I have all this. I don't know where to live now. I have this contradiction inside me that in the city I feel half myself. In nature I feel my whole existence. And I would like to create something to be more familiar with nature. You understand? Don't know.
Yeah. I mean, isn't that one of the big problems with, I guess, the way we do society, right? People are wonderful. People are an important part of nature. I think we often divorce people from nature, and people are a great part of nature. But when there are more than probably, 3 or 4 people in nature, people start to take over, and the nature starts to matter less. And before you know it, there's hundreds of people, and the nature is all gone. So it's really difficult to get that balance. I get that. What led you to the museum and having an interest in words, particularly words in the English language?
What? I didn't hear you.
Oh yeah, sorry. I'll say again. What led you to the Museum of Dead Words, and what caused you to have an interest in being a part of the discussions that we're having with this art?
I saw the call in the internet, and it was not like the others. It was very very real to me because I saw your pictures, your eyes in the pictures you had in the museum of your team. And first of all, I liked the writing, how you presented the call, and what you wrote that this is a new era and this is something very different, and it was simple, but at the same time it was real for my point of view, from my point of view. And then I saw your eyes in the pictures, in the images, and uh, I don't know, not commercial things. I saw this real stuff, and I said, okay, I will send, my proposal, and that's all.
I dig that. To talk about like dualities and binaries, you just brought up like it didn't seem commercial, it seemed real. What about commerciality? And I figure by commercial you don't just mean advertisements, you mean taking art and using it to generate revenue. What about commercial creation? Because I guess it doesn't just have to be artistic. What about it this is not real?
Commercial creation? That is,
yeah, I guess when you're saying like
real.
Yeah.
Why it's not real? Ah, you know what? I have other tastes. Maybe I miss another kind of art that it's kind of now it's fading out. I am First of all, I like the '60s. I like that the Woodstock stuff, all the musicians, all the music. I like the classical cinema, and I like the first of all. That I mean, this was. Uh, I like the direct thought that you have. You have a very clear political thought. You have a very quick intellect in America. With the Western thing, but your kind, it does not come here anymore. It comes the commercial.
Mm-hmm.
It does not come, it does not come the thing that you are real in New York. People like you, people that I feel that they are still there, like Beatniks, like Bukowski, like all the people that had something to say. Now
wow.
it's covered by something else, and we have all this perspective, this view for America that's completely fake, because you are there, but I cannot hear your voice here.
Mm-hmm.
So I am with them, with the past, because they had something very, very true to say. I mean, the way they played in the movies, they used emotions. Now it's more artificial, the movies, more, with the fantasy, all the science fiction, all this violence. It was not like that. You had very good actors. You had in the music very good lyrics that, they were revolutionary. You had so many things, and now I don't know why this whole thing changed. I feel that after McCarthy list, after the death of Kennedy and all these things, and Martin Luther King, after that, in the whole world was darkness, something like a gap in time. And then they started the capitalistic stuff, or capitalistic. I don't want to put labels, but I don't have other words to communicate now. So this stuff, that's not real for me. I have the money. I am, I have the money, and I am doing whatever I want. But I don't have the soul. But I don't have the talent. But I don't have the education. But I don't know how to speak. We don't have spiritual leaders. We don't have somebody who inspires, or we have, but we cannot hear their voice. They don't let us speak out,
Well, that's such a real thing. I love what you said about like you can't hear the voice, because I like to talk a lot about how in America free speech is a big thing, but we don't talk about how free speech costs money. At the very least in America, but I think really everywhere in the world, the ability to have your voice be heard, it costs a lot of money. And I think one of the reasons why you found a lot of great art in the music of the 60s and the film of that time is there was a lot of limitation. And I think limitation inspires innovation. And it also inspires collaboration. And that's how we build a congregation, not to be too rhymey about all of it. But when we have limited resources, we do the thing that we got to do and we figure out what we can. And that's what creates interesting art because of what we've done. Also, on the other hand, and I was talking about this, I think it was 2 words ago, one word ago. Oh, might have been, actually, I think it might have been last week. Last week we were talking about the idea of artists being critics. And we didn't really get too deep into it. I have this idea, and I would love to know what you think about it. I think all artists are critics, all of us. I think all art that's ever made is a response to something else. Maybe it's a response to art. Maybe it's a response to something in life. And, when you talk about artists in the 60s, and you even see people doing these things today, and, it has to do with the work that we do together, you saw something going on in the world that was wrong. And they knew it was wrong, and they felt a need to change it and to inspire people to know about it so that they can begin the process of changing it. So started doing their thing and saying their thing. And like what you said, it was challenging. And people weren't always ready for challenging stuff. I remember there's the story of, the Temptations, who were originally given the song, they had the song War, huh, what is it? That song that was written for them. But the label, the very famous label, Motown Records, was like, I don't know if we want you to do that song. And they ended up not being the ones to release it. Because there was, a lot of difficulty. And, more artists were doing their thing at that time. And I think now, over the last 50 years, they've gotten really good at doing the type of capitalism they do. And it's zero-sum capitalism. And I'll talk a little about the zero-sum capitalism, not get too far into it. If you guys listen to the stuff that we do, you know that on Brunch Budget, we talk about this all the time. Zero-sum capitalism is a fight. It's like what we were just doing about confidence and doubt, right? It's a fight where me and you, and I win and you lose. But that's not what art is, and that's not why art feels good. I don't know if you've ever been in a boxing match, you Alkistis, or anybody here who's watching, but when you're in a fight, hurting somebody feels good. I'll be honest about it. I've been in a fist fight. I've punched somebody in the face. I've been punched in the face. And then you see that victory, that you winning, which is you hurting them. And that part feels good. Making other people feel pain and making other people feel lost, making other people feel like they're less than, doesn't feel good when you're making art. And that's the grand difference in the way that we have been able to sell through conquest, domination, victory, defeating zero-sum capitalism, rather than the more artistic capitalism where we share, uplift, and make things better. What's funny is that it's more sustainable, but people don't live very long, so I don't know. I've ranted a little bit more on my end about it, but I would love to hear your thoughts more about why, how you feel about art versus violence, because I see you bringing up, the violence that we see in art. And I think that, there's plenty of violence in art, and that is necessary to talk about. But your thoughts about art and criticism and violence in your own work. Feel free to ramble like I did, because,
Yeah, I don't speak so quickly. I admire you for that. I don't know. The first name that comes in my mind when you speak about art and violence, it's Sarah Kane. The writer.
Mm-hmm.
That she brought the violence, but it's the way you do everything in the theater and in art. It's what you have, where you want to travel the audience, where you want to take them through this. If the medium is violence somehow, but what you have inside is very, very well rooted, and you know that it's the only way to express what you want to express, because maybe you use violence, but you want to express the opposite, you know.
Mm.
Always art is very, very tricky. And for me, I don't know, but I admire boxers. I admire very much Muhammad Ali, and I
Mhm.
admire Tyson. I think that they have a very good story to say, because in order to go up there and fight and risk your life, it means that you have much stuff inside, you know. You do it for a reason. You don't do it for money. You don't risk your life like that on the ring for money. I think that they have something else inside, and this leads them to, you know, to fight with somebody. But violence also has many perspectives. It's the intellectual violence. It's not only, you know,
Mhm.
the men. It's with your body. Is also with the language. Also with I can be violent and be very sweet with you. You know, I can be also violent through a good face, through a good mask, through a
Yeah.
very innocent mask. But I can be very, very violent, like the Godfather. Marlon Brando in
Mhm.
Godfather, he never shouted. He was speaking very calm. Everything was, you know,
Mhm.
but it was brutal violence. Violence. Oh, this, I don't know.
Well, that's
But
interesting. You bring up, excuse me, cutting in on you, but I just thought it's interesting you bring up like the Marlon Brando type of like the calm gangster type of thing, where we often associate violence, evil, hatred with anger and instability. Someone shaking with rage, angry and yelling and screaming. When oftentimes because we know we're pattern people, right? We look at patterns. When oftentimes the real patterns we see, the real things behind those patterns are chiller, calmer, or much more in control. It's just like when we talked about racism with Stephen. We talked about how racism in America, at the very least, but it was a cold, calculated act and not an act of emotion. It's just such an interesting thing that you bring up.
yeah, what? Tell me again. I don't know. Tell
Oh,
me
you know,
what?
I didn't even have a question. I was just saying I think that's
Ah,
cool that
okay, okay.
you brought that up.
So I wanted to make a question. Uh, about racism in America.
Mhm.
When it's very insane for me. It's very insane that we have still as humanity those issues. I don't know if I am so romantic, but some things I cannot understand. I cannot understand. It's why they are still here, and I wanted to see your perspective, because you have all this. You're so into that. Do you believe that this world will change somehow, anytime, with any way? What are your dreams about?
I love that. Um, wow, that was really well phrased. That could be a good chorus. Do you believe in any time, in any way? What did your
Yeah,
dream?
anytime. How?
Sorry, I
We
really
have
like
one
that.
life here. We must do something. I don't know.
Yeah, you know, it's such an interesting thing. This is kind of how the word evil got as bad as it did, because people continue to be perplexed at how other people can be harmful, can be selfish, can be mean, and we start imagining that it must be something supernatural. I was talking on Tuesday about the three different forms. I mentioned it earlier. The three different forms of evil that were thought of as like existing, that you're natural, which was like natural disasters like floods and things like that, and they're like, we don't know why that happens, it must be evil. And then there was your other kind, which was your personal, right? Which was like, I do something to you because I'm angry, and that's like the angry thing. And then there's your metaphysical evil. And this is the kind of evil that no one understands where it comes from. And I think what we do, I'm going to use a word that I use a lot in the museum, is we conflate. We unfairly mix a lot of different things that are going on because we don't understand them. I think that who's the cat who said Occam's razor, the simplest thing is usually the simplest answer is usually the correct answer. And I think when it comes to evil and us treating each other badly, it's that we expect the opposite. Most folks don't have the energy and time to try to take over the world. Do you, Alkistis? Are you trying to do like think about your angriest day, right? Your angriest day when you're like, I hate everybody, I'm so mad, I want to fight the world. By the time you get out the front door, you're like, I'm tired, I want to go get a snack.
No.
Most of us don't have the energy to be monsters. So we can't comprehend how people could have that energy, what could inspire them. And I have to tell you that it is art the same way we have art. The same way that we are inspired by beauty, they are inspired by the conflict. You were saying before about being inspired by Muhammad Ali and Mike Tyson and boxers. And hey, shout out, what's up, Uncle Shiloh? I've got many boxers in my family, and I love and appreciate the sport. The thing about what's interesting with even boxing is, remember that sports are art. The competition in sports is collaborative. You're not supposed to beat a person to death in boxing. That's why they have gloves. That's why we have rules. That's why they have rounds. That's why you take breaks. There is that competition within yourself that's shown. But the thing of it is we take the metaphor for the violence that we see as an audience member and the good feelings that we feel for the victory that come from actual violence, and we mash it together, and we start to think that a ruler, a leader, a controller, and a smart person is someone who will quickly and easily hurt another person. I'll throw one more thing to you, and I would love to hear more on your perspective on what your own question. I would love to hear you answer. But like the thing that has really been getting me is I grew up reading comic books. The song that we based the word on, Magneto Was Right. You know, I'm a big fan of it. I always loved superhero stuff, and I was a defender of the idea of the type of story because it, at its essence, is simple. There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of authoritarianism. There's a lot of patriarchy and sexism and white supremacy and all that intertwined in all of our art and media. Commercialism, as you say. But the simplest thing about a superhero is you know that you have a power that no one else has, and you have to use that power to help other people, even though that only ever seems to bring you sadness and pain. And I think that that's a beautiful story. These guys, they'll have this power and they can't tell anybody. They've got a secret identity and they never tell anybody about their thing, and they're saving the world and everyone is laughing at them or hating them or leaving them by. But it's important to be able to help others, even if it doesn't help you. Now, I love me some comic books and I love that story they tell. And I noticed that comic books are popular now, right? Everybody's making movies. The movies make billions of dollars. They're huge. They're worldwide. You've seen them. We've all seen them. But you notice in the comic book movies, they don't have any secret identities. They don't have anything to hide. They don't have anything to protect. They're not even trying to help people, really. They're just fighting somebody. They're just trying to win. And when we get in this place where we're just trying to win, and I'm even thinking of songs. What was it? My life is all I have to give. And Tyler Qualley with Just to Get By, Just to Get By. We've made songs about this, and we've made art about this in the past like 20 or so years, where we talk about how we've been conditioned into a world where we're just trying to win, where we have no collaboration, we have no connection, we just want to win. And when we win, we can relax. But the trick is there's no end to the fight, so we never get to relax. So that's my fairly messy thought.
But to win who?
Right?
Who to win?
Who to win, right? It's whoever's in front of us until there's nobody left.
Okay. Here's I will say to you just two clues. I don't know. I haven't reached the result. But I see from above the planet. Okay. All these have no meaning at all. That are, you know, no meaning, only the truth. When you reach this place, have you ever been really free? Have you ever felt really free? You know, the freedom, a moment that leaves you without words, without speech. A moment that you fly. Have you ever been there? Through your art, through.
I think I've been there.
I believe that those moments are our collective memory, and those moments, those moments count on each one. Those moments are staying in the atmosphere, and I just forget it. I just want to say that we must rehuman the world, rehuman. You know, we are not going to the human way. We are going opposite. And you know, if you're going with the right flow of the earth, with the right flow, you are opposite to the society. And if you go with the society's way, as it is constructed right now, which is constructed on dead roots. It's dead. I feel that there is nothing real down in false, you know, in false. It's built in false, in a very false way. Anyway, and when you go with the society's way, you're opposite to the real flow of the earth, of the truth. Anyway. So we must rehuman the world. You must reinvent ways. We must do. I don't know.
I feel you. I completely am understanding you. The thing that you're saying is a very difficult thing to understand and much more difficult to even put into words. To rehumanify or rehumanize the world, because I think this brings back what we were saying about nature, right? In nature, people hurt. In nature, animals, they will hurt and they will kill for food, for the stuff that they're doing. And the thing that's supposed to make us human, the thing that we always say makes humans the better thing, is that we use our brains, we use our society. We don't just eat the thing that's in front of us. We have connections and hold each other down. And what you're saying is our current actions and the way we've been living have been dragging us back towards one of my favorite English words that I don't get to use a lot because it's not always appropriate, but it's a fun word to say, and that's atavism. Atavism is atavism. I threw it up on the screen. Atavism, or acting atavistically, is when you will return to an animal state. And what you're saying is we need to pull ourselves out of this animal state and remind ourselves that we are humans. And if we are humans, then we are able to use society, use understanding, and at some point use words. I think the problem with this, as we were saying about the ways that we do stuff, we're trying to criticize, right? We're trying to criticize and give back our humanity, this thing that we have. And when we criticize with our art, we talked about this before we started taping, the medium, while everybody can do any kind of art, the medium that feels the most natural to us is how we can show our humanity, share our humanity, criticize a lack of humanity, and bring humanity back. So as we're laying the word evil to rest, Alkistis, can I ask a favor of you that we had not planned out? Can I put on some music and you start some movement? And can we finish this talk by freestyling out some vibes from rhythms from your body so you can criticize and explain how humanity's got to do their thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm going to go off the screen and let you get busy. Thank you so much. All Thanks, everybody, for listening to the museum. We'll be back. Well, I'll tell you the goodbyes once she's done doing her thing. Whew. Thank you for translating. Alkistis, thank you so much for being a part of this and sharing your rhythms and vibrations. I'll say it again for everybody so just you can tell if you didn't have the headphone. Thank you, Alkistis, for sharing your rhythms and vibrations. Hold on, stay on for a second. I'm going to say bye to the people and then I'll hang out with you in a second. Thank you so much. Amazing. This was Alkistis Voulgari and my interpretation of the word evil. Thank you guys for listening and getting down. Evil is another word that's used as an excuse to confuse and cause confusions. Please stick around and check us out on Sunday with Kristen and her epitaphs. And next week, let me see, we did evil this week. So next week, we're going to be getting into the word deserve. So if there is evil and if there is good and it's all within us, do we deserve the good things or the bad things that we get? Thanks. Check you next time on the Museum of Dead Words.